What if you walked into your bedroom and found your spouse in an intimate situation with your own brother? How would you confront such a heart-wrenching betrayal that shatters your entire world? This is the unimaginable reality faced by Andre Harris, a respected sheriff who seemed to have it all: an adoring wife, 4 beautiful children, and a career that made him a pillar of his community. Andre was the protector, the one people turned to in their darkest moments. But what happens when the protector himself becomes a victim of the most intimate betrayal? One ordinary day, Andre's life took a catastrophic turn. A revelation would come crashing into his world, tearing apart everything he thought he knew about trust and loyalty. The loving home he had built with Jasmine, the woman he married 15 years ago, would soon become the setting for a tragedy that no one could have foreseen. Andre and Jasmine had what many considered a fairy tale romance. They met at a community event where Jasmine's magnetic smile captivated Andre, who was then an eager young deputy. Their love blossomed into a marriage filled with dreams and aspirations, centered around their growing family. However, unbeknownst to Andre, Jasmine harbored a secret that would unravel their lives. Jasmine had a history that predated her relationship with Andre, a link to his younger brother, Tyrone. While Andre was disciplined and focused on his career, Tyrone was the charming, carefree younger sibling, often living in Andre's shadow. Though they shared a family bond, Tyrone's impulsive nature and desire for acceptance led him down a dark path. As Andre devoted himself to his family and work, Tyrone's frequent visits became a source of unspoken tension. Jasmine, feeling increasingly isolated due to Andre's demanding job, found herself drawn to Tyrone's attention. What started as innocent conversation soon crossed a line, leading to a secret affair that would change their lives forever. Imagine the internal conflict Andre faced as he poured his heart into his family, completely unaware of the cracks forming beneath the surface. His love for his children Malik, Jaden, Cameron, and Alia was unwavering, but the foundation of that family was built on lies. As we unpack this heartbreaking story, I urge you to engage with us. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What would you do in Andre's situation? Also, if you find value in these stories, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel. We're on a mission to reach 1,000 subscribers, and your support means the world to us. Let's dive deeper into this tragic tale and explore the devastating consequences of betrayal. Before the storm of betrayal swept through Andre Harris's life, he lived in what many would describe as a picture-perfect world. As a 44-year-old sheriff, he was not only a protector of his community but also a devoted husband and father. His life revolved around his loving wife, Jasmine, and their 4 children, each of whom brought joy and meaning to his days. Andre took immense pride in his role as a family man, cherishing the small moments that made life worthwhile. Andre and Jasmine's love story began when they met at a community event, where her vibrant spirit and warm smile captivated him. Their connection blossomed into a deep bond, and they married, envisioning a long future filled with happiness and shared dreams. Together, they built a home filled with laughter, love, and the chaos of raising children. Each child, Malik, Jaden, Cameron, and Alia, held a special place in Andre's heart, serving as the anchors that kept him grounded amid the demands of his job. Despite the outward appearance of a fairy tale life, there were cracks forming beneath the surface. Andre's commitment to his job often left him preoccupied, and Jasmine began to feel the weight of solitude. While Andre believed he was providing for his family, Jasmine yearned for emotional connection and understanding. Little did he know that his brother Tyrone, with his charm and carefree attitude, would soon become a significant part of this story, ultimately leading to a devastating betrayal that would shatter their lives. As the years passed, the bond between Jasmine and Andre deepened, yet the shadows of discontent began to creep in. While Andre was consumed by his duties as a sheriff, Jasmine found herself increasingly alone, navigating the challenges of motherhood and household responsibilities. It was during this vulnerable time that her paths crossed more frequently with Tyrone, Andre's younger brother. Their connection, rooted in a shared history from high school, reignited in a way that neither had anticipated. Initially, their interactions were innocent, a laugh shared over old memories, a glance that lingered a moment too long. However, as Tyrone visited more often, drawn to the vibrant energy of the family home, a subtle tension began to develop between him and Jasmine. She admired Tyrone's carefree spirit, the way he could make anyone laugh and light up a room, contrasting sharply with Andre's serious demeanor. In those fleeting moments, Jasmine felt seen and appreciated in ways she had begun to miss. The first step into the depths of betrayal occurred one evening when Andre was working late. Tyrone had come over to assist Jasmine with a household project, and as they reminisced about their youth, the atmosphere shifted. A simple brush of hands or a shared laugh became charged with unspoken desire. When their eyes met, something ignited a spark that would soon lead them down a dangerous path. What began as an unexpected connection soon spiraled into a passionate affair, hidden beneath layers of secrecy. Jasmine sought solace in Tyrone's attention, feeling a renewed sense of excitement that had long been absent from her marriage. For Tyrone, the thrill of being with Jasmine was intoxicating, not just for the physical connection but also as a twisted way to claim a piece of the life he felt had always eluded him. The affair, shrouded in secrecy, became a complex web of lies and hidden moments, intertwining their lives in ways they never imagined. Each stolen glance and whispered conversation added to the intensity of their relationship, setting the stage for a betrayal that would ultimately unravel the fabric of their lives. As the days turned into weeks, Andre Harris began to sense an unsettling shift in the dynamics of his once harmonious household. Though he was often preoccupied with the demands of his job as sheriff, the subtle changes in Jasmine's behavior did not escape his notice. There was a tension in the air, a shift in the way she interacted with him and their children. Her laughter, once freely shared, seemed to be reserved for moments when he was absent, leaving Andre with an uneasy feeling that something was amiss. Andre's instincts, honed from years of law enforcement, started to raise red flags. He noticed the way Jasmine would quickly put away her phone whenever he entered the room, or how she would suddenly have plans whenever he had a late shift. These small, seemingly innocuous actions began to pile up, creating a nagging sense of doubt in his mind. The affection that had once flowed so easily between them now felt strained, as if an invisible wall had risen between them. One afternoon, while returning home from work, Andre caught a glimpse of a message on Jasmine's phone that sent a chill down his spine. It was a text from Tyrone, filled with playful banter that felt too intimate to be purely friendly. Andre's heart raced as he read it, anger and confusion swirling within him. How could his wife, the mother of his children, be exchanging such messages with his brother. This revelation ignited a firestorm of emotions, and Andrei found himself grappling with feelings of betrayal and disbelief. Despite the turmoil in his heart, Andrei chose to remain calm. He didn't confront Jasmine just yet. Instead, he decided to observe. He paid closer attention to her habits, the little things that could provide insight into the truth. Each passing day, his suspicion grew, feeding a growing sense of dread. Andrei's once peaceful home was now a battleground of doubt and fear, as he prepared himself for the inevitable confrontation that loomed on the horizon. The man who had dedicated his life to upholding justice was now faced with a personal crisis that threatened to shatter everything he held dear. The weight of suspicion bore heavily on Andrei Harris, consuming his thoughts day and night. The more he observed Jasmine's behavior, the more convinced he became that something was deeply wrong. The playful texts, the late nights, and the lingering glances all pointed toward a betrayal that he could hardly fathom. It was no longer just a matter of feeling uneasy. Andrei needed proof to confront the situation head-on. A decision began to crystallize in his mind. He would have to take the drastic step of testing the paternity of their children. The thought of it filled him with dread, yet he knew he could not move forward without certainty. Andrei carefully arranged for DNA testing, discreetly collecting samples from his children during a routine medical checkup. Each moment spent obtaining those samples felt like a betrayal in itself, yet he rationalized it as a necessary step for the truth. He thought of Malik, Jaden, Cameron, and Alia, and the weight of responsibility he carried as their father. How could he look them in the eye if he didn't know the truth about their lineage? As he sent the samples off for testing, Andrei experienced a whirlwind of emotions: fear, anger, and a profound sense of loss. He couldn't shake the image of his family falling apart, the life he had built crumbling under the weight of deceit. Days turned into an agonizing wait, each moment stretching into eternity. Andrei found himself replaying memories in his mind, searching for signs that might confirm or deny his worst fears. He thought back to the joyful moments of family gatherings, birthday parties, and vacations, wondering how much of it had been real. Could he have been so blind? The uncertainty gnawed at him, and he found it increasingly difficult to focus on his work. The sheriff's office, once a place of pride and purpose, became a backdrop for his inner turmoil. Finally, the day arrived when the results would be revealed. Andrei's heart raced as he opened the envelope, the world around him fading into a blur. As he read the results, a wave of shock and despair crashed over him. 3 of his children were not biologically his. The realization hit him like a freight train, shattering whatever remained of his sense of normalcy. In that moment, the gravity of the betrayal became all too real, and Andrei knew that the confrontation he had been dreading was now inevitable. The moment Andrei Harris opened the envelope, the world around him seemed to dissolve into a haze. Each word on the paper felt like a dagger piercing through the carefully constructed facade of his life. As he read the results, disbelief washed over him, quickly followed by a tidal wave of anger and heartbreak. 3 of his 4 children, Malik, Jaden, and Cameron, were not biologically his. The revelation shattered the very foundation of his identity as a father, a protector, and a husband. In that instant, the memories of laughter-filled mornings, bedtime stories, and family outings transformed into haunting echoes of betrayal. How could Jasmine, the woman he loved and trusted above all, have hidden such a monumental truth? The faces of his children flashed before him, innocent, joyful, completely unaware of the storm brewing in their father's heart. Andrei felt an overwhelming urge to protect them from this devastating reality, yet he knew he could not shield them from the truth forever. His mind raced, replaying moments of doubt and suspicion that now made sense in stark clarity. The late nights, the secretive messages, the emotional distance, it all fell into place like pieces of a cruel puzzle. Andrei's heart ached not just for himself, but for the children who had unknowingly been caught in the crossfire of adult choices. He felt like a ghost in his own life, wandering through memories that had turned from sweet to bitter. The weight of the results pressed down on him, suffocating in its intensity. Andrei knew he couldn't confront Jasmine immediately. He needed time to process this shocking revelation. He wandered through the house, each room echoing with memories of happier times. The family photos that once brought him joy now felt like a cruel reminder of the life he thought he had. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the living room, Andrei sat in silence, grappling with the enormity of what lay ahead. The impending confrontation loomed like a dark cloud, threatening to unleash a storm that would irrevocably change everything. He was torn between the desire for answers and the fear of the chaos that would inevitably follow. In that moment of solitude, Andrei realized that the truth, while painful, was the only way forward. He steeled himself for the battle ahead, knowing that the path to healing would be fraught with challenges, but it was a journey he had to embark upon for his children's sake. The confrontation had been building inside Andrei Harris, an unbearable weight that he could no longer ignore. After days of tormenting thoughts and sleepless nights, he finally decided it was time to face Jasmine. The house felt charged with tension as he waited for her to return home, each ticking second amplifying his anxiety. When the door clicked open and Jasmine stepped inside, Andrei's heart raced, the moment of truth looming before him. "Jasmine, we need to talk," he said, his voice steady but his insides roiling. She looked up, her expression shifting from confusion to concern as she sensed the gravity of the situation. Andrei's mind raced through the words he had rehearsed, but nothing could prepare him for the visceral reaction that followed. He placed the envelope on the table, his hands trembling slightly. "I know about the DNA test. I know the truth." Jasmine's face drained of color, and her eyes widened in horror. The silence that followed felt suffocating, and in that moment, Andrei could see the walls closing in around them. "Please, let me explain," she begged, but Andrei, fueled by a mix of betrayal and hurt, cut her off. "You've betrayed me, Jasmine. You've lied to me about our children." The words hung in the air, sharp and accusatory. As the realization of her deceit sank in, Jasmine's eyes filled with tears, but Andrei felt no sympathy. His heart was too consumed by anger. In a moment of overwhelming rage, Andrei's frustration boiled over. He shouted, the sound echoing throughout their once happy home. Jasmine recoiled, and the fear in her eyes ignited something primal within him. Before he knew it, he had pushed a nearby table, sending it crashing against the wall. The chaos shattered the fragile atmosphere, and Andrei felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through him. Jasmine stepped back, fear etched on her face. "Andrei, please don't," she pleaded, but the dam of emotions he had built up broke, and he stormed out of the room, needing to escape the suffocating reality of the betrayal. As he paced outside, his mind raced with conflicting thoughts: rage, heartbreak, and disbelief. The confrontation had ignited a fire he could no longer control, and the path ahead seemed darker than ever. In the aftermath of the confrontation, Andre Harris felt the weight of his emotional turmoil transform into a chilling reality. The violence that had erupted in their home marked a turning point, one that would irrevocably alter the trajectory of their lives. As the initial shock began to fade, he realized that the consequences of his actions extended far beyond the walls of their house. They reached into the realm of law and order, a territory Andre had navigated as a sheriff but never expected to face personally. The following days were a blur of anxiety and regret. Jasmine, shaken and fearful, sought legal counsel, and rumors began to swirl around town. Andre's professional reputation hung in the balance as whispers of domestic unrest crept into the community. He had always been a figure of authority, a protector of the law, yet he now found himself teetering on the edge of personal and professional disaster. The very principles he upheld were being scrutinized under the harsh light of public opinion. When Jasmine filed for a protective order, Andre felt the full weight of the legal system bearing down on him. He was summoned to court. A place that had always been a sanctuary for justice now felt like a prison where he would have to defend himself against the fallout of his actions. The prospect of facing a judge was terrifying, but even more daunting was the thought of being separated from his children. The idea that he could lose custody, or even visitation, haunted him. As he prepared for the court hearings, Andre found himself grappling with a sense of helplessness. He reached out to a lawyer, seeking guidance on how to navigate this new reality. The legal implications of his confrontation with Jasmine were vast, and he needed to understand how to protect his rights as a father while acknowledging the pain he had caused. The courtroom became a battleground where emotions would collide with the law. As the date approached, Andre's mind was filled with dread and uncertainty. He knew he had to take responsibility for his actions, but he also felt the desperate need to fight for the life he had built with his children. In that sterile environment, filled with the weight of legal jargon and procedural formalities, he would have to confront not only Jasmine's accusations but also the fragments of his own shattered identity. The stakes were higher than ever, and Andre understood that the outcome of this legal battle could define not just his future, but that of his children as well. As the dust began to settle in the aftermath of the legal proceedings, Andre Harris found himself in a state of profound reflection. The tumultuous events that had unfolded over the past few weeks had forced him to confront not only the betrayal of his wife but also the darker aspects of his own character. The anger that had once consumed him began to give way to a deeper understanding of the complexities of love, trust, and the human experience. In the quiet moments that followed the court hearings, Andre sat alone in the dim light of his living room, surrounded by remnants of happier times. Family photographs adorned the walls, each image a reminder of the joy and laughter that had once filled the space. Now, those memories felt tainted, and Andre grappled with the realization that the life he had cherished was built on fragile foundations. He pondered the choices that had brought him here, recognizing that both he and Jasmine had played a role in the unraveling of their relationship. The pain of betrayal cut deep, but as he reflected on his own actions during the confrontation, Andrei began to understand the importance of accountability. The violence that had erupted in their home was a manifestation of his inner turmoil, a response to the overwhelming sense of loss and confusion. He realized that while his feelings were valid, the way he had expressed them was not. In that moment of clarity, Andrei recognized the need for healthier communication and emotional regulation, both for himself and for his children's sake. The moral of this tumultuous journey became increasingly clear: relationships are built on trust, and once that trust is broken, the path to healing is fraught with challenges. Andrei understood that he could not change the past, nor could he erase the pain inflicted on his family. However, he could take steps toward becoming a better person, a more compassionate father, a more understanding partner, and a man who chose to confront his emotions rather than let them dictate his actions. As he moved forward, Andrei committed to seeking therapy, not only to process his feelings but also to learn how to establish healthier boundaries and communication patterns. He recognized that healing would take time, and it would require vulnerability and honesty, not just with others, but with himself. In embracing this journey of self-discovery, Andrei hoped to rebuild the relationships that mattered most, striving to create an environment filled with love and understanding for his children. It was a long road ahead, but he was ready to take the first steps, armed with the lessons learned from the devastation he had endured.